on the Q30 Newscast. Exciting news.
Hello and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Tom Krasnowski.
And I'm Izzy Agricola. We have a great show for you tonight. Tom, we had our first self-care day yesterday. How'd you enjoy your day off?
I went for a nice run. I enjoyed my time off. How about you?
I didn't go for a run. I went for a walk. Not quite at the running point yet, but hopefully as spring comes, maybe I will be.
For sure. Now, back into the news. Quinnipiac announced a change of plans today to celebrate commencement for the classes of 2020 and 21. The ceremonies will now be held outside on the quad, and students will be able to invite up to 2 guests to attend. Our own Hannah Mirsky has more.
Seniors received some shocking and exciting news today. Graduation will be happening, and it will be happening right here on the quad.
My roommates and I were screaming and jumping up and down. We are all very, very, very excited because this is literally just something that we'd always wanted. We kind of figured it would change, but we weren't sure how soon it would change.
The email announcement says only 2 guests are allowed, and masks are to be worn the entire time. While some were celebrating, others couldn't believe the news.
I was personally very shocked. I was not expecting Quinnipiac to make this move at all, frankly, and if they were going to make this move, I think they did it a lot earlier than I was expecting.
While graduation is 2 months away, seniors believe things can change quickly.
A lot can happen between now and then. I understand why they did it, because obviously if people are coming in from different states, if they have a really long drive or if they need to fly, obviously accommodations are a huge thing.
I think people are definitely going to be nervous because it's going to be a big amount of people in one place, but I feel like at this point a lot of people are vaccinated.
And despite the nerves, seniors are grateful to experience walking up to receive their diploma in front of family.
A graduation on the quad is something that will be amazing, obviously weather permitting, it'll be amazing. And just to graduate in front of the library, in front of Arnie, I think is something that a lot of students are excited about, including myself.
Reporting for Q30 News, I'm Hannah Mirsky.
Yesterday was the first of 3 scheduled self-care days at Quinnipiac in lieu of a traditional spring break. And due to COVID concerns, Hefzibah Rajan has more on these self-care days.
Yesterday was a self-care day for Quinnipiac students. It is the first among 3 days that have been given as an alternative to spring break. Although the day was meant to unwind and relax, for some students, the self-care day has only increased their stress.
In conclusion, the self-care day, putting it on a Tuesday made me more stressed out because then I had 2 exams today to study for, instead of 1 today, 1 tomorrow, 1 Wednesday, 1 Thursday, like it usually is.
Alyssa was annoyed to find that the self-care day would be placed in the middle of the week.
So the 2 self-care days, they gave us a Tuesday and a Wednesday, right? Or a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But instead of doing that, they could have made it 1 on a Friday so that there's a long weekend, and we could have had more rest time, or a Monday to still make it a long weekend.
This idea was put forward by students multiple times, even during the State of Union. However, the rationale behind the decision was to ensure that the contact hours were met.
You have to have enough contact hours, and so really the only way to do that was to spread out the days as a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, Thursday, and a Friday. So we have a Monday, which was MLK Day, and then we needed a Tuesday, so that was yesterday.
So was this self-care day really beneficial in any way? For Alyssa, there was only a small relief.
I mean, besides school in general, like I work at the Office of Admissions, and they actually like gave us off and are not making us do any of our tours tomorrow, which I thought was really great. And they usually don't do that. So I thought that was really good of them to actually give us like a self-care where we didn't have to work. It wasn't just school, it was also work, which I thought was nice. So that was like the good part of it.
From Quinnipiac University, I'm Hepzibah Rajan for Q30.
Quinnipiac released its latest COVID-19 numbers on March 5th. There are 15 positive cases, with 12 coming from on-campus students and 3 off-campus. Currently, there are 27 active cases in isolation. And COVID numbers have gone down across the state, largely due to the quick vaccine rollout. Connecticut ranks in the top 5 in the country for vaccine distribution under Governor Ned Lamont's plan. As of this week, nearly a quarter of the state's population has received at least the first dose of the vaccine. While residents over the age of 75 have been prioritized so far, Lamont plans to have all adults eligible for the vaccine by early May.
Quinnipiac Residential Life announced a new policy last week that has made waves among the student population. Beginning next year, students will be required to live on campus for their first 3 years. Commuting students will now only be considered those who live within 25 miles of the university with a legal guardian. Quinnipiac pointed to increasing on-campus engagement and receiving the full residential experience as reasons for the change. Q30's Hannah Mursky spoke to a potential Quinnipiac student about their thoughts on the move.
Anything would give me a greater incentive to come to Quinnipiac, because I feel that if you spend more time on campus, you get a better feel for the people and the vibe of the campus, and it gives you more ways to bond with other people and teachers and staff. And
a Quinnipiac tradition will still be occurring this year while taking COVID-19 precautions. Community Service Initiative, the big event, will take place on Saturday, April 10th, after being canceled last year. The event began 37 years ago at Texas A&M and is now the largest single-day student-run service project in the nation. The last big event at QU in 2019 featured more than 1,600 students who completed a combined more than 4,500 hours of community service. Students can find out more on DoUQU.
President and CEO of the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, Will Ginsburg, hosted a webinar earlier today about promoting entrepreneurship in the local community. Ginsburg's event was part of the People's United Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Speaker Series. The goal of this project is to inspire budding innovators in the Quinnipiac community and help them grow their ideas. Ginsburg's webinar today focused specifically on how his foundation is working to address societal problems in struggling communities regarding entrepreneurship. And the School of Communications announced today that they have reached an agreement with Norwalk High School that allows their students to gain college credit. The high school students will be able to earn up to 9 credit hours in digital media curriculum if they apply and enroll at Quinnipiac. The program is called QU Academy, and the classes offered include a podcasting course and one in digital communications. Coming up after the break, Hamden's new training for opioid overdose response, plus how the university celebrated International Women's Day this week.
And Joe Grippo has our 3-day local forecast. Joe?
Today as we hit a high of 52, and you probably could have gotten away with shorts. But once the sun went down, the glasses had to come off. And the sweatpants had to come on as temperatures dipped all the way down to 37 degrees. We will see temps rise into the 60s the next 2 days, but we'll shoot back down over the weekend. Stay tuned for the full 7-day forecast and the weather around the state coming up in a bit.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfies. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Greg, come on man, let's put a ride home.
need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. It's here. It's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Earlier today, last Friday, to discuss and learn about implicit bias in the workplace in both legal and medical professions. The goal of the meeting was to bring awareness to the harm implicit bias can cause in regards to ethnicity, race, sexuality, and religion. Guest speakers attorney Cecil Thomas, Assistant Dean Demiola, and Dr. Carmen Parker led participants through practices and discussions about how students can train themselves to fight against implicit bias in their professional work environments.
Now, we're all aware of the pandemic going on, but the Quinnipiac Valley Health District and Hamden Public Library want to raise awareness about what they're calling the other epidemic, opioid addiction. The organizations will be hosting opioid overdose training sessions virtually over Zoom on Wednesday, March 17th and Wednesday, April 28th, both at 6:30 p.m. Free Narcan kits will be available for anyone interested. 73 Hamden residents have died of an opioid overdose in the last 5 years. ABC News reported that opioid overdoses are 29% higher during the pandemic than before. These events are free to attend virtually, and you can register at hamdenlibrary.org.
One of our key messages in it is anyone can overdose, especially as fentanyl is continuing to contaminate other drug supplies. They may be impacted without fully realizing it, and helping them be equipped to respond.
An uptake in car thefts and burglaries and shootings in Hamden this past year has left residents on edge and looking for a way to keep their communities safe. The town has hosted discussion events recently in order to inform the population on what measures are being taken to keep these numbers down. Q30's Melanie Carreri spoke to Hamden Town Detective Sean Dolan about the reasons and precautions being taken about the recent increase.
We would still caution people to basically be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that when you're walking around, whether it be in parking lot, to and from schools or in the shopping centers, you don't want to be distracted with something in your hand or some sort of device where you're not paying attention. We would still caution people to.
In our national news update, Samantha Pirelli has the latest on nationwide efforts for police reform and the fallout from a recent interview with former members of the royal family. Samantha?
Thank you, Tom and Izzy. For this week's national news updates, let's take a look at Rochester, New York. On Saturday, footage of a police officer's body cam was released, showing a black mother with her 3-year-old child chased down and pepper sprayed. The mother and her child were stopped by a police officer because he accused the mother of stealing. When she had opened her purse, repeatedly saying that she did not steal, she was told to wait, but the body cam footage showed her running away with her child. She was then chased down, tackled, and pepper sprayed by the police officer. Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren said in a statement, quote, "When incidents like this occur, I am relieved that I ensured body-worn cameras are worn by our police so we can see what occurs on our streets and hold officers accountable," end quote. All around the world, people are still fighting to reform the police. Since the killing of Breonna Taylor in the comfort of her own home and the death of George Floyd, where a police officer arrested him and proceeded to kneel on his neck, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the police reform legislation which could ban chokeholds and hold more police officers accountable. Christy Lopez, a professor at Georgetown, claims, quote, "It was the biggest movement in the history of the United States that really strongly indicated that we, the people, don't find the use of force reasonable," end quote. However, the bill honoring George Floyd has yet to pass the Senate. Lastly, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex did an interview with Oprah Winfrey. It aired this past Sunday and gave the world an inside glance of what it was like to live with the royal family. The Duchess proceeded to tell Winfrey that there had been racist remarks made about her unborn son, Archie, at the time.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be.
The Duchess added that she was feeling suicidal due to the lack of support from the Duke's family and the lack of protection from the tabloids, which ultimately resulted in them leaving England and the royal family. On a happier note, the Duchess is pregnant with her second child. She and her husband announced that their son Archie will be having a sister. That's all for this week's national news. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you for that, Sam, and I hope with the new baby she might name it Diana, but I guess we shall see. This past Monday was International Women's Day, a time to celebrate all of the women in the past and present who make our lives so special. Businesses, politicians, celebrities, and people all across the globe put out messages of solidarity and honor for women, as well as promises to keep promoting them through all professional fields. Former Quinnipiac International Business Adjunct Professor Monica Advocate sat down with Q30 to talk about how she used the day to promote women in STEM careers.
We need women in those areas because obviously diversity breeds better solutions, but also because we have no choice. Those are the areas that are going to be extremely significant.
And we here at Q30 will continue to celebrate all the women who work so hard to make us so great.
Q30 wouldn't be where it is today without such great female leadership. Now, moving on, we'll have your full 7-day forecast coming up after the break.
Plus, Quinnipiac students protested the new parking fees this week, and Steve Pappas is here to talk all things politics. We'll be right back.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things. Come on, Jules. When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things. Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is. You've gone with it. Leo. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast. Now, Izzy, we've had some very spring-like weather these past couple days. Was it going to continue?
I don't know. I sure hope so, Tom, because I've certainly been enjoying it, but Joe LaGrippo is here to tell us more. Joe?
Thanks, guys. We've had some really nice weather over the last couple days, and it's going to continue into the weekend, but first, let's talk about the current temperatures in Connecticut. Hartford and New Haven are the highest right now at 40 degrees. New London and Danbury sit right below at 39, and it's 36 degrees in both Torrington and Norwich. We're just about entering that stretch where it's beautiful during the day and a little brisk at night. Now we can take the 7-day forecast in Hamden coming up. We talked about the next 3 days a little bit before in the teas, so now let's focus in on the weekend. Temperatures will unfortunately be dropping after Friday, as Saturday will see some sun, but with a high of 45. Slight winds around 10 to 15 miles an hour. Sunday will be more of the same temperature-wise, but it will be partly cloudy. To make matters worse, as we head into the start of the new work week, Monday will be near freezing temperatures with a high of 39 and a low of 25. And Tuesday will have some more of the same with a high of 42 and a low of 28 with winds around 5 to 10 miles an hour. That's all I have for you guys. Back to you at the desk.
Well, thanks for the report, Joe, but I'm really not excited that you had to use the words almost freezing in that weather report. But many Quinnipiac students were not happy last week when it was announced that there'd be a new $90 parking fee for commuters in the 2021-22 school year. In an effort to understand students' concerns and provide better options, the Quinnipiac Student Government Association sent out a survey this week to collect more data on what students want.
I spoke to him recently about potential alternatives, that I was drafting this survey and we were formalizing this resolution in order to kind of promote different alternatives. Administration is not dead set on the current system that they have. They're very open to having alternatives. And so it's just a matter of what one will the students kind of get behind.
Quinnipiac SGA's goal is to enhance the student experience on campus. They function closely with administration to solve issues from the parking fee to how commencement will run. But do Quinnipiac students even know who their SGA representatives are, or what exactly they do for the student body? Q30's Jack Main has the answers.
I'm here in front of the Arnold Bernhardt Library, where protests just wrapped up regarding the $90 parking fee implemented on commuter students beginning next year. Now, the Student Government Association is going to have a strong hand in helping the student body resolve this issue with university officials. But do the student body actually know who's going to be leading the change?
No. No, I don't.
Not too sure.
No, I don't.
Student government officials have been working to overturn the $90 parking fee since it initially came out. Though the question remains, has student government been doing enough, and has their voice reached enough students?
I do know that they sent out a survey sort of asking about, how we feel about the fee, and I think while that's a nice gesture, I don't think that necessarily does anything other than just show that the majority, or at least the majority of students I've spoken to, are pretty upset about the $90 fee.
I think it's nice to be heard. I don't know the specific things that SGA has been responsible for that's changed, but it's nice to know people are at least listening to our concerns, so I think that's definitely a positive.
Though it was evident that not many students knew who their elected officials were, there would be some good news to come out of student government.
So we got together a group of our students that were interested last week, and we sort of started drafting a resolution that is going to be passed today. The people that were surveyed stated that they would want a 3-year grandfathered in. So we kind of took that a step further, and so what we're going to be talking about and discussing and passing today is having any current undergraduate student now essentially would be grandfathered in to not having a parking fee.
The resolution passed unanimously earlier today. For Q30 News,
from student government to national government, Stephen Pappas has our political update. Steve?
President Joe Biden is set to make a primetime address on Thursday to mark 1 full year of the COVID-19 pandemic. The White House says the president will discuss the many sacrifices the American people have made over the last year, along with how exactly Americans can beat the pandemic. Thursday's speech also comes after the House and Senate approved Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief package. This will be President Biden's first primetime speech since taking office back in January. 140 lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are urging President Biden to make a comprehensive deal with Iran addressing issues such as their nuclear program. After former President Trump pulled the United States out of the Obama-era nuclear deal, Biden plans on re-entering the agreement and lifting the sanctions on Iran so long as the country returns to compliance. The letter from lawmakers wants President Biden to reinstate limits on Iran's nuclear program, as well as reducing the country's ballistic missile program and addressing its, quote, malign behavior throughout the Middle East. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Now, one more break before we go, but you'll want to stick around to see how Quinnipiac athletics are doing both on campus and in Atlantic City in the MAC playoffs.
That's right. Gage Kilborn will be here with our sports update.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you got to keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color-coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my
Reached a new sports betting deal last week that could generate millions in state revenue and allow for online sports wagering and gaming. The deal lets the Connecticut Lottery Corporation set up new sports betting operations in Bridgeport and Hartford in an effort to stay on par with surrounding states that already have these systems. As part of the agreements, the two tribal nations of Connecticut, the Mohegan and the Mashantucket Pequot, will continue to have exclusive gaming rights.
Hopefully our beat reporters down in Atlantic City aren't going too crazy betting on the Bobcats at the casinos. But meanwhile, here in Hamden, Gage Kilborn brings us up to speed on the latest in QU athletics. Gage?
Thanks, Tom. I really hope they didn't do too much betting either. We had a busy week in sports as the winter regular season came to a close. Beginning on the ice, the men's ice hockey team won the regular season conference title with a 10-4-4 conference record. This is the team's 5th Cleary Cup in program history. The biggest story of the season is Odin Tufto. He leads the NCAA in assists with 38. To make this stat even more impressive, the 38 assists this season helped him break the program record in assists that was set by Reed Cashman in 2007. Tufto's success has not gone unnoticed as he is currently a nominee for the Hobie Baker Award. Quinnipiac will be waiting for the Colgate-Clarkson matchup in the ECAZ semifinals before they'll play against the winner of that in the championship on March 20th. Switching sides of the People's United Center, the men's basketball team began their run at a MAC championship when they took on 9th seed Iona in Atlantic City last night. Unfortunately for the Bobcats, they were not able to stop the Gales in the second half as Isaiah Ross led the way for Iona and took care of business by the final score of 72-48. A heartbreaking end to a historic season as senior Jacob Bergoni broke the school record in three-pointers by knocking down 259 career triples to pass Rob Monroe's record of 253 that he set in 2005. Switching locker rooms, the women's team finished the regular season in the conference, second in the conference. Coach Tricia Fabry's squad played in the MAC quarterfinals earlier today against 7th seed Rider. The Bronx game plan against Quinnipiac was simple: defend the paint, and they did just that, as the Bobcats were forced to shoot outside of the arc, and their shot selection was weak, and which led to a monumental upset with Rider winning by the final score of 62-50. Quinnipiac didn't go away without winning some individual awards, as Michaela Morris and Mackenzie DeWeese won All-MAC First Team, and Rose Calvary won Third Team honors. Michaela Morris also took home MAC Defensive Player of the Year, and DeWeese took home MAC Player of the Year. That is all I have in sports. Back to you, Tom.
You know, it really is just great that these players even get to play in Atlantic City. We're almost a year to the day. I remember when our reporters were back in AC and how much of a breaking story it was. They handled it great, but 1 year later, playing in these games.
I mean, it's a great story. Unfortunate losses for both of the Bobcat teams, but we're proud of them here. And our last story of the night is the perfect outdoor story as the weather gets warmer and we look forward to the Tokyo Olympics. This year, Tokyo announced that after being postponed in 2020, the Olympic Games would be held in 2021. Although the games will be held, there will be no spectators, which is very unfortunate because, not that I was going to go to Tokyo, but I do like to see the fans in the stadium there.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the Olympics, I mean, the fact they're bringing people from all over the entire world, I mean, it could be a COVID risk, but they're going to have these guys isolated. It's going to be a great event. No fans, unfortunately, but they're going to find a way to pull it off.
Exactly. We'll get to watch on TV and cheer along for our favorite countries, so I'm very excited for them. And unfortunately, that is all the time that we have tonight, but
be sure to check us out on Q30 on social media. Download our new app to stay up to date with the latest Quinnipiac news. I'm Tom Krasnowski.
And I'm Izzy Agricola. Have a great night.